Pakistan tried to bring the peace deal on both sides, and U.S. declined it, and so did Iran. So if you were to decode this a little bit more on where President's mind's at, what would you say?
Well, I would say that Trump has a history of working in reality TV. He thinks in terms of television. He asks himself what will draw attention, what will look good on TV, what will get people very emotional and afraid and anxious. So he spent a lot of time in the World Wrestling Entertainment with Vince McMahon. They had a feud, a television feud, and that's really how you speak in the WWE. You are rhetorical, you are bombastic, and you try to instill fear and rage in people. Um, um, and so what Trump is trying to do is he's trying to huff and puff. It's really flexing. The other issue that's very worrying right now is that Trump has surrounded himself with advisors who are psychopaths, and they're not actually relaying to him good strategic advice. So, for example, what just happened this weekend was that Trump announced the rescue of a downed American pilot. And if you watch the press conference yesterday, he thought it was tremendous success and was very proud of the military for doing the impossible, going deep into enemy lines and rescuing a wounded pilot. And this is a great tribute to the professionalism and self-sacrifice of the American military, especially the special forces. But on Twitter, on X, on social media, what people are saying is that this was actually not necessarily a successful pilot rescue operation. It seems that evidence is emerging that this was a failed seizure, a failed attempt to seize Iran's enriched uranium in the Isfahan power plant. And if that is the case, then that was an extremely risky mission, and it's very consequential because America lost about $300 million worth of planes and equipment in this failed raid. So my concern is that Trump has surrounded himself with advisors who feed his ego. And Trump himself believes that just by flexing, just by taking a very tough negotiating position, he can bully the Iranians into a compromise. So I think that we are in a very precarious situation right now.
What do you think, though? Worst case that could happen, the best case? Walk me through what, and by the way, just out of curiosity, would you consider yourself like if we're in July of 2024, would you say you were a supporter of Trump? Like you wanted to see him win?
I'm pretty politically neutral, but in July 2024, I was very confident Trump would win, and I felt that America needed a change. So if I were American and I had the opportunity to vote in November of 2024, I would have voted for Trump over Biden.
Got it. That's very important.
Right.
That's very important for the audience to know that, because I don't think you've revealed that, because your criticism is just what you think is going to happen, but you still would have chosen a Trump over a Biden or a Kamala. Now, here's the question that we're everywhere we're talking to others. What's the best case, worst case? Okay, on what could happen here?
The best case scenario is that the Americans and Iranians reach a compromise where they agree to share the Strait of Hormuz. So there'll be tolls collected because the Iranians want reparations for all the damage that the Israelis and the Americans caused this past month. But they agree to share it with the Americans, and they agree to collect the tolls in US dollars. And all sanctions are lifted, and peace comes to the Middle East. And there is a possibility. I'm not saying this is impossible, but it is a very low probability, and this would be the best case scenario.
Best case scenario. Give me the worst case scenario.
The worst case scenario is that Trump follows through and bombs all of Iran's power plants. And the reason why this is the worst case scenario is that there are certain individuals who are now trying to protect the power plants with their bodies. So the Iranian government has called on for the young people of Iran to make the ultimate sacrifice and make a human chain around all power plants in Iran. And so the Americans go in, they blow up all the power plants. Well, in this case, The Iranians are obligated now to destroy the entire economy of the GCC. This would include all oil fields. This would include all desalination plants. This would include all data centers. And this would be the absolute worst case scenario.